I am Rich McFarlane. So we are going to look at how to start creating your own personal local pen test lab on your laptop. So what we want to do is we want to download some virtualization software. So we have VMware Workstation would be the preferred option, especially if you're on the pen test module here at Napier. So we have a free version if you're a student, which you can download from our Napier Software Centre. Then we want to download a KaliLinux distribution. And again, if you use VMware Workstation, you can actually download a pre-built VMware virtual machine with KaliLinux set up and configured. So you can just literally download the two things and then run them up. Similarly with VirtualBox, there's a version of VirtualBox as well you can download. And then with VMware Workstation on your laptop, that will actually be NATed out to the web via your laptop's internet connection. So very simple to get these things up and running. So for the first thing we're going to look at just getting Kali onto the laptop and running that up on its own, and then in weeks to come we will look at getting some targets and running them in your local network, shutting the local network off so it's very safe, and that will provide you with a nice little environment for exploring the latest version of Kali and some vulnerable targets for various parts of the pen testing process. So the first thing to do is get yourself the VMware Workstation software. So VMware Workstation rather than VMware Player, so you can configure the network, whereas Player's more for running individual VMs. So if you're on the pen test course, you can go to Moodle and you can have a look in the resources, if I can find them. So additional reading and resources, and under software you should be able to go to the Microsoft software portal, and if you log into that, you will basically get a screen such as this, and you can choose workstation. So if you have two machines, there are a couple of versions currently on that, so I tend to pick one from a desktop and one from a laptop. So that's your link there if you're not on the Moodle module, and you just add that to your basket. You don't have to pay for it as a student, and you just go to checkout. They will send you an email saying that you've purchased that for zero cost, and if you then go back in and have a look, you'll get your license key from the order screen. So you go back in and basically look at your orders, you will see your license key, and then that will be needed to run the product up itself. So what we need next is the KaliLinux pen testing distro. So that is the easiest place to get that if you want to get a pre-built virtual machine. So you can there's all different options, you can build your own, but if you want a pre-built one, just a really straightforward way of doing it, these are on the Offensive Security website. So if you go to the Kali website, there's a redirection to this link, and that's this page here. And the easiest thing is just to, you can either torrent or get the zip file. So you just need to double check whether you're running 64 or 32-bit operating system. So in this particular case, this is a 64-bit Windows operating system. If you're not sure how to check that, you can go into My Computer, right click it, look at properties, and it should give you a kind of rundown of the operating system in Windows anyway. And it'll tell you whether it's 32 or 64-bit, which is important. So once you've downloaded those two things, you can install the VMware Workstation software, so that one there, and you can unpack the KaliLinux box. So let's have a look. Have I got this? So that's it actually running. So I don't see where I've unpacked it actually, but it's fairly straightforward. So you just unpack that into a directory, and that's where you will open your KaliLinux VM from. So similar to any other kind of configuration and files, you know, similar to a Word file. It simply run the product up, open the file, and that's you. So if I go to VMware Workstation, which is downloaded and installed, and I've got an old Kali 1 version there, which is paused at the moment. So that's the same version that we're using in Linux Zoo for the course. But if I go and try and open the newer version, which I've just downloaded, in fact this is a one from the end of last year. So if I go into the directory where I've unpacked this to and just open it up, that should run that up. So in actual fact, I've had it running before and it's been paused, which is quite a good way if you're in the middle of doing stuff. You can just kind of pause it and close the app, and it'll save everything off that you're doing. So if we resume that one, it basically just runs up the virtual machine, and what we will get is something similar to this diagram. Your very own virtual pen testing lab. Very basic pen testing lab, because you only have a pen testing distro. So this is the KaliLinux pen testing distro running inside virtual VM Workstation. So this is a virtual machine running inside VM Workstation, a virtualization software on your host machine, whatever that machine may be. And this is how it will be connected by default. So it actually connects through a gateway, which is all done in software, but this is similar to if you were running a kind of router or something. So it's kind of on a virtual switch, which actually you can connect or run up other VMs. So when we get to later parts of the course, we'll show you how to run up a target VM or multiple targets, and they'll all be on this little virtual network. And then we can shut this off as well, just to be on the safe side, so nothing will go out via our kind of host machine that we're running it on. So in this case it's my laptop. So this actually by default runs a NAT device. It runs a DHCP server which serves the addresses. So if it's set up by default, you can get a DHCP IP address and it'll all kind of just configure itself, and also a DNS proxy. So there's DNS here as well. So this can point to here, get DNS records back for going out to the internet. So you'll have internet access by default. So if we go back to our machine, it should have loaded up by now. And that's all just the USBs, so you can just say whatever from that. And this was just me having a little play around. So if we have a look at our IP address, this has actually got one, so it's 192.168, and it's on the 79 network, host 132, and it's a 255 network. So 79, so slightly different from this one. So this is 23. So these things can change depending on which network you're setting up and which machine. So you can go in and actually have a play around with the networking. So this is a fully functional Kali box now, which I've had since the end of last year. So it's got some password things that I've been doing on it and some other bits and bobs by the looks of it. I was looking at some metadata on some photographs for this week's lab, and this is the new version. So this is the latest, or almost the latest version. It's only a month behind. So I think I downloaded one yesterday and it was a 2018 build. So these things are getting built every week now, and you can update them as you go. So yep, so that's enough to do. Oops, daisy. So Control Alt and then swap to another screen. So that's enough to do the first kind of couple of labs, and then we'll go on and look at how to download some vulnerable targets in another video once we need that target, possibly next week.